Ember and Ice, a Quinn original. Episode 1, Finn.
What was that? I turn at the sound, my bow already drawn. But it won't come to that. Not today, at least. It's only a stag. His black eyes stare back at me as I lower my weapon. I whisper to him, but he doesn't move. I flex my wings, translucent in the moonlight. That lets him know I'm serious. The creatures here respect the Fae. He disappears into the trees, and I turn my attention back to the path that winds its way through the forest. My wings ache for the open air, but the thick woods have been harder to defend. A vulnerability our enemy has been happy to exploit. So I held position on the ground tonight. Partially because it's good for my men to see the Moon King's only son doesn't shy from the most dangerous post, and partially because I'm the strongest fighter. If the Solari are going to attack our camp tonight, they'll need to go through me. This forest wasn't always a war zone. The Lunare and the Solari were once the closest allies in the realms. So close that this path was actually clear to lead the Solari straight to my family's hall. When I was younger, I used to climb to the top of the tallest tree as soon as I heard the procession of carriages approaching. I'd crane my neck to see the strong horses, carrying barrels of wine, cakes, and gifts, and, of course, Dane. Let me back up a little. Long ago, the Lunare and the Solari fought side by side to drive out a clan of cruel overlords who were draining the forests and fields. Back then, our families took to the skies together, and it ended well for both sides of the alliance. We divided the land evenly. We lived in peace long enough for me to see what life could look like without war, to learn what a man might want besides survival. Laughter, contentment, sex. Until the Solari got greedy. They started pushing into our territory and laying claim to land that wasn't theirs. My father had no choice but to defend our borders. And so, for 5 years now, the Fae have been at war with themselves. As the only son and heir to my father's title, I've had to step into the role of a military leader. And I'm proud to carry the responsibility even if it comes with trade-offs. My life has become consumed by strategy, duty, discipline, and whatever keeps our soldiers alive. A Fae commander doesn't get to make mistakes or follow impulse, and I've had to deny myself the things I once indulged in. But there are some nights out here alone that my mind drifts back to the days before the war. My first real memory of Dane was at the celebration of our family's joint victory. I was overwhelmed by all the music and debauchery at the celebration. I was the only one outside in the courtyard when Dane arrived. His hair was ruffled by the wind, his shirt half open beneath his jacket. His older brothers and his father had all arrived on horseback hours earlier, but Dane showed up alone. And 2 hours late.
Which way's the party?
It's through there. You missed the whole ceremony. The official map drawing and the full rites of welcome.
Sorry. That sounds fun.
He looked at me for a long beat, and then a smile spread across his lips.
You're Finn, right?
Yes. I'm the only son of your father's most important ally. You'd think you might know my name by now. It's just basic diplomacy, like not showing up late.
I was in bed.
Do you find your duties back home so tiring, Solari?
I didn't say I was asleep. Or alone.
He clapped me on the back and entered the party. That was the first time I remember feeling jealous of him. I had a life of privilege, but also of responsibility. With so many older brothers, Dane was comfortably far from the throne. And with that came something I had never really known. Freedom. A freedom he was constantly rubbing in my face. Every time I looked over at him during the festival, he was drinking wine, or laughing with a mouthful of food, dancing with beautiful women, and showing off his gorgeous amber wings. I couldn't wait for the week to be over and for Dane to leave. I needed to focus on my responsibilities. I was 21 and it was time for me to take on more duties within the court. I just didn't expect the first of those duties to be babysitting Dane. The Solari King was also tired of Dane's excesses, and he had asked my father if Dane could stay with the Lunare, hoping that my demeanor would rub off on his wayward son. My father, eager to impress his new ally, agreed to the arrangement on my behalf. I was so sure that summer was going to feel like the longest one ever. But looking back now, I wish it had lasted longer. Dane was an absolute nightmare for the first week or so. He refused to join me on hunts, he fell asleep in meetings with ambassadors from other Fae houses, and his room was directly across the hall so I could hear him all night with whoever he brought home. One night, the sound of his headboard against the wall was so loud I stomped across the hall and banged on his door. After a moment, he opened the door, completely naked.
Yeah?
Who's even in here with you?
The ambassador to somewhere west. It's just basic diplomacy, Finn.
You have a mandatory ride with me in the morning, and if you miss it, I'll be writing a letter to your father.
Oh. You're gonna tattle on me?
Just because your future doesn't matter doesn't mean you get to fuck up mine. I went back to my room before he could respond, or before he could notice the way my wings were trembling. I climbed into bed, promising myself it was just because I was angry. Just a rush of emotion. But I lay awake all night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his body. His sweaty torso, his broad shoulders leaning against the doorframe, his thick, erect cock staring back at me.